I think a lot of people think that, it's like this secret society that nobody wants to let you in, but literally they want music, you know what I mean? Like because they get paid, if they place it, they have a bigger catalog, it's more opportunity for them. So it's a win-win, and you bring value to their situation. So, don't be afraid to just reach out and ask.
All right, guys, welcome to the Midi Money Podcast. Today we have a special guest, somebody who I've been aware of. I'm a student of the game, so I see when there's producers. I always like to see what everybody's up to, and somebody who I think I first came across a few years ago, and have been very impressed with just what you've been doing, and really carved your own lane, which I think is dope. So, Clint, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Gabe, man. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. So maybe if you could give just like quick backstory. I know something that you do a lot of now is like sync licensing.
Mhm.
So I'm curious kind of how you came into that, and what your journey was from starting out to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I first kind of heard about sync licensing some years ago when I was in college. So around 2006, seven, and it was a college buddy of mine. He kind of told me about Taxi, which a lot of people have heard of, where they you kind of pitch music, you go to the road rally, they teach you about getting music and TV and film. So I would help him out with his tracks by playing keys and stuff like that, and then he would like pitch music out. So he was trying to kind of introduce me to it, but I was kind of focused on, just trying to break in producing for big artists and things like that. Dark Child was like one of my favorite producers. I was just like, man, I want to be like Dark Child and produce for everybody. You know what I mean? So
Bro, he was so dope. I feel like he was underrated. Like he doesn't really get into that like category of like the Timbaland, Dr. Dre or something, but he was like that. He was somebody who did it for decades and had
yeah,
all kinds of different styles and stuff. So yeah. Anyways,
absolutely,
my bad.
man.
I just had to
No, you're
cut in on
good.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So I kind of I just kind of kept it in the back of my head. And then, some years later, it kind of resurfaced. I was just like, you know what, this would be kind of cool. Let me give it a try. Did Taxi for a while. At the time, my music, it just wasn't ready. The mix was horrible. The style of music I was producing wasn't necessarily what TV and film was looking for a lot of the time. So I didn't really see a lot of success when I gave it a try that, around 2008, 2009. So some years went by. I moved to Atlanta, and I got into a publishing deal with a company who, they kind of pitch for TV and film. And that was kind of when I got my very first placement through the NFL Network. So that kind of showed me, okay, this is something that, if I just replicate that process, the same process I did here, I think, it could be a cool way to generate another stream of income in music. So I kind of further pursued it and just said, okay, I want to do, 10 placements in a year. I want to see if I can do 10 placements in a year. And, I just hit the ground running, started reaching out to a boatload of companies, and, eventually just started picking up momentum, signing deals, licensing deals to kind of pitch to different music libraries and things like that. And it just kind of built from there. And then, I decided that I wanted to kind of document the journey on Instagram and YouTube and things like that. And, it ended up helping a lot of other producers who didn't really know anything about it. And it kind of grew into, just kind of this whole thing of, being one of the go-to guys to kind of show people the ins and outs of music licensing, how to get started, and how to create another stream of revenue with music that's kind of outside, major artists and things like that. So it's been a dope journey, man. I've learned a lot, and I've been able to help a lot of producers in that lane. And yeah, man, that's kind of how I got into it.
Yeah, no, that's dope. I feel like there's a lot of good stuff in there. Like, for one thing is like, I know one of the things that I love about this job of, being a music producer, being an entrepreneur is that you never really know where it's going to take you. But as long as you're down to just, figure out, okay, what's the next move? What seems like, I can take the skills that I have right now, or I can take, the next goal that I'm trying to hit, and how can I, what's the next opportunity, and not being stuck on like, well, originally I thought I was going to go this exact route. I was going to just pitch to labels or whatever. Like, oh no, I found out about this, the sync placements thing from my friend, and then kind of took it from there, and then started documenting it, and that became its whole own thing, and then that turned into, oh, now I can teach other people about that, and that's a whole nother level of value where I'm not only getting results for myself but for other people.
Yep.
That's something that's really cool about this game. I think that's dope that you're, always took that next step of like, okay, this is working, cool. Let me double down on this, and let me turn this into 3 different opportunities, and just kind of keep going down that path. I think super cool.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And the teaching thing is dope too. That's something that for me is relatively new. It's only been a little over a year since I've really focused on that side of things, but it's something that's it's fun to do, and it's fulfilling in a different way. It's
Yeah.
dope to do the thing by yourself, but then it's really, it's a different level of fulfillment when you can help other people get their result.
Exactly. And yeah, man, and your passion kind of spills over into it. And I mean, I've gotten one of your courses, the traffics for producers and things like that, selling beats online. And the thing I like about it is that you don't just teach the business of selling beats online. Like, the tools that you give producers is literally, how to find, who you're selling to from the ground up, and it's principles that you can apply to anything, not just beats. You know what I mean? So really, really good information, man. But yeah, it's dope to give back and help others, man. And that's honestly, I think I kind of like the feeling I get from that than to getting placements. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great
Yeah.
feeling, man.
Well, it's a whole different thing. I mean, I played the placements game for a while, and never did amazing at it, but did all right. But
Mhm.
it always felt like I was reaching out to somebody. I was always waiting for somebody to reply to me, or waiting for somebody to come save me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the record label was finally gonna cut me the big check, or I was finally gonna get that placement or whatever. And it's, I know for me, it was when I started taking things into my own hands. Like, no, I'm gonna build my own brand. I'm gonna build my own business, is when things really took off. And it's just a better feeling. Like you said,
Yep.
it's, you don't feel like you're chasing after anybody. It's like, no, I'm building something here. And if people want, what I'm doing, then they'll come be a part of it. So
Exactly.
I think that's a big piece of it too. Um, so what about, okay, so let's say for producers who just want to kind of get started with the sync placements thing,
Mhm.
what are some of the common mistakes you see as far as trying to pitch it, or reaching out to the right people? I know you
Yep.
mentioned taxi, you mentioned getting a deal.
Mhm.
What would be kind of the way to start?
Yeah, yeah. So the biggest mistakes, I see a lot is reaching out and just filling up the email with beats and music right away. Usually, I always like to kind of introduce myself, start a conversation, give value if I can, and just really connect with the person, because everything is about relationships. You don't want to just, hey, here's my music, place it. It doesn't work like that. So always recommend people to kind of do their research before they reach out to anybody, and see what they're working on, see what they place a lot of. That way you can kind of connect to them, and when you do send something, you can send something that they actually, place a lot of, so it makes sense for them to open it up, listen to it, and hopefully place it one day. So that, I see that happen a lot. The biggest thing is not having the music structured properly for TV placements, especially background instrumental cues. Is different than producing for an artist. A lot of times you don't have a full blown song with a bridge and breakdowns and things like that. And TV music is usually really short. I usually don't compose anything longer than a minute and a half. So that's another big one. And then honestly, just not knowing where to even begin. You know what I mean? So I help a lot of producers out, just figure out, what's the best place to start. And usually music libraries are usually the easiest way to kind of to get in, because they already have the relationships. You reach out to them. If they like your music, they'll bring you on board. And then from there, they just kind of use their relationships to pitch their catalog. And then you kind of get in that way.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know for me, it hasn't been a huge focus of mine, but the times when I have gotten those TV and film placements, it's because it was through a library. It was through somebody that I knew who knew somebody at that library or whatever. What about for
Yep.
somebody who doesn't have the luxury of, like, for me, I just, a friend of mine just happened to know somebody who worked over there. Like, how do you find those libraries in the first place?
Yeah, so Google, man, like Google literally is just like the best thing ever created. So I get and that's how I started. I went on Google and I said, okay, Google music libraries. Google, I do a lot of urban music. So I said, urban music libraries or hip hop music libraries, libraries that specialize in music that I do. So I know it'll be a good fit right away. So I'll do that. You can even Google music licensing companies and just play around with different keywords and then just create a list, create an Excel spreadsheet, write down the ones that interest you, and then just start reaching out to them and just keep track of who you reached out to so you're not doubling up and tripling up, hitting up people. And then just keep track of who hit back, who wants a meeting or a phone call, who you sent music to, things like that. And then eventually the ball will start rolling.
Yeah, that organization is key. I got more spreadsheets than you could imagine of all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But what might that first email say that when you reach out to somebody, at
Yeah.
that library?
Yeah, I usually start out say, "Hey, my name is Anthony. From Clint Productions or Clint Music Publishing, and was just reaching out to see if you were interested in accepting submissions from new composers." And that's it. And then I'll let them kind of respond, and usually they'll give you instructions if they are accepting. They'll let you know exactly how they want it. If they're not, they'll say no, and then to just kind of move on or not right now, things like that. So yeah, that's usually how I just start opening up. And then they're not like, I think a lot of people think that it's like this secret society that nobody wants to let you in, but literally they want music, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
because they get paid, if they place it, they have a bigger catalog, it's more opportunity for them. So it's a win-win, and you bring value to their situation. So don't be afraid to just reach out and ask. And
Yeah,
most of
I realized we just said music libraries, but we didn't really explain like what does that mean exactly?
So a music library is pretty much, essentially, it's a music publisher for like TV and film music, but it's kind of like a company that has a large catalog of music. It could be instrumental, it can be with vocals, a combination of both. And they pretty much manage just a large catalog of music to pitch out to their clients. You have smaller ones, you have the medium sized ones, and you have big large ones. And sometimes they'll put together albums. They'll hire composers to put together a album for, say, tension music or EDM instrumental music and things like that. And some companies you could just upload straight to their website. And then they just kind of manage everything online, and then they have clients come to their website, type in some keywords, and then your music could pop up under those keywords, and then they just license it instantly from their website. So it's
Right.
just a combination of those.
Yeah, so it makes it easy for the music supervisor or whatever, instead of trying to maintain all these relationships with all these different, composers or producers or whatever. They just know, oh, this library has quality. They just go in there, they type in a few keywords, and they have, some options on that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then something that I, never thought about until I started, pitching a few things for TV and film. You mentioned some of the arrangement and stuff because I'd always made beats, for artists, whether if that was, for labels or for selling beats online, and I do like intro, hook, verse, hook, slow fade out or whatever. And then
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
started pitching for TV and film. I'm like, no, it needs to be different. So what are some of those things that people could think about if they're specifically pitching for TV and film?
Yeah, so for instrumental music, a lot of the key elements are short intros. You can have an intro, but you don't want it longer than, I don't know, say 12 to 14 seconds. Um, because you got to think things in TV, when you have these scenes, things move quickly. So your music has to move quickly too. So quick intro, and then you want to slowly kind of build up to the hook. So you can have your first verse, the first half, maybe not as much instrumentation, and then your second half of that verse, you can kind of build up, and then you got the hook with all of your instruments in there. And then usually I'll go into some sort of breakdown in that second verse where I may switch up drums or take out some of the sounds, and then build right back up into the hook. And then probably the most important part is like the sting ending. I know you mentioned, you would do the fade outs. A lot of times they don't really like fade outs. So they like a sting ending, and all that means is it ends on the one, or like the one note. It's just a resolving note, and it just kind of stings out. And that way it allows them to kind of transition from scene to scene, fairly easy.
Yeah.
So
I remember that one was key, and it made sense once they said it, but, I just never thought about it until they did. It's like, "Oh, yeah," and then you start paying attention like you're watching TV or whatever, and you hear
mhm.
it, like, they'll go, like, right before the commercial break or whatever, it, like, ends on a note, or whatever,
Yep.
and, instead of just, like, you don't really hear, like, a fade out.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I was gonna ask too, as far as so when you're submitting those tracks, you're like keeping track, you got a spreadsheet, how do you know if you're doing well? Like, should you expect to hear back from a certain percentage or in a certain period of time? Or, how do you kind of measure if you're doing it right?
So you kind of don't know, like literally until, I mean, I didn't really know. Man, I got the one placement. The only reason I found out about the first placement on NFL Network was because the publisher posts new placements on their website. Most publishers, they're not going to reach out to you because they're so busy. They can't reach out to all of their composers and say, "Hey, you got a placement last night." And then royalties usually don't come in. I mean, it can be anywhere from 6 to 9 months after they actually turn in cue sheets before you even see royalties. So that could be a year and a half easy. So it's hard to know. I use a tool. It's called tunesat.com. And you can kind of upload tracks that you submitted to companies that place music, and you can upload like up to 50 tracks for free. And then what it does is, say something airs on VH1, it'll pick it up and it'll record like a sound bite of your music being used on the scene. It'll tell you which show, tell you what time it aired, and all of that. So that kind of helps you if you want to know,
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, it's pretty
I didn't
dope.
know
Like
about
if
that. What's it called? What'd you say?
TuneSat, TUNESAT.com.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Tuneset.com.
so it's a dope tool. I use that, just to kind of keep track so I know what's going on, and kind of get an idea, of what's working.
Yeah. So you can
But
you can expect a pretty big delay, I guess, between
yeah,
even knowing if it gets placed and then eventually getting paid, right?
yeah, absolutely.
And then what's kind of the range that you've seen as far as getting, I don't know, a TV placement, film placement, something like that, as far as
Mhm.
how much you might expect to get paid for those things?
Yeah, it can be literally, man, like 5 cents to thousands.
Yeah.
It's huge because, and this is back in, and then depending on the situation, you could get some upfront if it's like a film, a movie, or something like that, or like a featured song on a show or something like that. Then usually you'll see upfront money. But for like reality show stuff, which uses a lot of music, most of that's going to be back end money. And yeah, it can range from pennies to hundreds, and it can add up because it replays to thousands. But it depends on network, the time of day it's played, how long it's played. The longer, the better. So yeah, it's a lot of different variables to
Yeah, it's some kinda, like, crazy algorithm, I guess, right? Because it did
yeah,
seem kinda random, like, I'll get something on a show and it's like pennies or maybe it's a few $100 or,
yep,
I had a friend who, he got the theme song on, like you actually, it was funny, I got some beats on, it was on, T.I.'s reality show, like, a few
okay,
years ago.
dope,
And, like, I had some beats on there, but he did, like, the theme song, so he got some upfront money, he got, like, he
yeah.
got a few thousand bucks, like, some real money, and I got, like, I don't know what it was, now a few $100 or something, not much.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how it works, man. It's like it can definitely seem random once you're looking at it. But yeah, a theme song. If you can score a theme song, that's a good look.
Yeah, so what's like, now that you've sort of taught this to a few people and kinda seen, like, what do you think's a reasonable, I mean, I know it's gonna vary so much, but, like, for somebody to start making a decent income, I don't know, 1,000 bucks a month or something like that, what do you think's the timeline about for that if things go well, I guess?
I always tell people, and I always try and set realistic expectations. Like, don't get into it expecting a lot of money for, man, a few years. I say 3, 4 years, man. It took a while before I seen like thousands in just back end royalties um, quarterly. So it can take a while, man, and you got to kind of work through that phase of not knowing if things are placing, and it's a numbers game. Like you can't send 5 tracks out there and just be like, okay, I'm gonna just sit and wait for it to add up, and it won't. Like you'll be just waiting forever. So you have to constantly create, constantly sending stuff out. And then, over the years, everything that you did from when you first started up until now, it'll start to snowball. And then you can use, even if it's not paying a whole lot of money on the royalties right away, the fact that you can say, you had some music on T.I. show, or your friend did a theme song, like just the fact that you kind of have that credibility, you can use that as leverage to open up other opportunities. You know what I mean? And, and kind of get bigger projects and things like that. So yeah, don't expect a lot of money up front. It can take a few years before you see like a significant amount of money in royalties.
Right, got you.
Um,
So
yeah.
while you're waiting on that, I know you do multiple things. What are some of the other ways, some of the other things that you do, business wise, as far as income streams, or other things that you're doing while you're waiting for those checks to roll in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I produce music for indie artists, major artists as well. So that happens every now and then I do sound packs and kits and things like that. I do affiliate marketing, with companies. You kind of partner up with brands and do different things with them. YouTube monetization things. So that's a stream from there. Google Ads. Courses, of course, consultations. I do that, and yeah, man, just different things, just all focused around music business and music licensing.
Yeah, just seeing where those little pockets of opportunity are. I
Yeah.
wanna dive into a couple of those. So you mentioned like affiliate marketing. What
Mhm.
are some of those that you have, and maybe what are some ideas for some producers of how they might be able to do something like that?
Yeah, so a big one, especially if you have like a YouTube channel and things like that. Amazon, you can sign up, be an affiliate with Amazon, and every time you have a video, everybody has gear, so you can create an affiliate link with Amazon of the gear that you use when you do your videos, showing what you use. Leave those links at the bottom of your description. And it creates passive income. You set it and forget it. You can set it up in your YouTube template, and every time people watch your videos and they click that link, even if they don't purchase the product that you have linked up, you still get a percentage of whatever they buy on Amazon for, like, it's like a certain period of time or whatever. So
Yeah.
literally you could have like a webcam on there that costs $20, but they could be on Amazon buying, I don't know, like the
Air
$300 piece of
conditioner or
gear.
something.
Yeah, something crazy,
Yeah,
and you'll get a
fridge.
percentage of that. So there's that.
Yeah, no,
There's
that's a gem too, because it's like you're just giving value. People want to know. They probably ask you anyways, like, "Oh, what's your setup?
Yeah,
What mic are you using? What
yeah,
interface are you using?" And so you just provide that information for them, whether that's in the description of the YouTube video, or I'll do something where I'll send out in an email sequence to artists, just like, "Hey, here's my recommendations for setting up a home studio," and I give them some advice and say, "Hey, here's a few different mics at different price ranges. Here's some different gear." And they're
yeah,
all just Amazon affiliate links. It's value for them. And like you said, they click that link. If they do buy that microphone, cool. But even if they click it and now they're just clicking around, they buy something else. It's passive income. It costs the same for them that it would otherwise. So it's win 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 all across the
exactly.
board.
Yeah. So that's one. Waves Audio, the plug-in company. They have like an affiliate program. You can sign up with them
Okay. I
every.
was wondering because I was sneaking around your YouTube and I saw that you had that link. I was
Yep.
wondering how you got that set up. So it's just you can just sign up for the affiliate
Yeah.
program.
I think they yeah, I think you sign up, or like after you buy something, they send you like a coupon or a link or something to send your friends, and then I just keep track
Oh,
of,
okay.
of that link and just shoot it out. So yeah, man, so I put that in mixing courses and YouTube videos and things like that. Anything that's relevant, to what you're doing, why not? You
Yeah.
don't have to maintain it or anything. So
No, it's huge. It's huge. I feel like it's something that's pretty slept on with producers is affiliate marketing, where it's something that's been super valuable for me. Where like I said, like that email I send out, or my buddy Adrian is launching a beat pack or whatever, and cool, I got a list of 100,000 artists on my email list. Like, why don't I
Yep.
send a couple emails like, hey, this he's got a great deal going. You get whatever the deal is, a bunch of beats and some so it's a win for them. It's a win for me because I get a percentage of those sales. It's a win for Adrian because he gets traffic he wouldn't have got otherwise.
Yep.
And man, it's just something where, especially if you are doing something where you're growing your audience, hopefully your email list or phone numbers
Mhm.
or YouTube subscribers or whatever it is. Now
Yep.
you can give value and get paid in multiple ways on that. So I feel like affiliate marketing is a big one.
Yeah, it's huge, man.
What about, so you said YouTube monetization, is that how's that going for you?
Pretty good. So I probably like now. I kind of the last couple years I slowed down on YouTube because we had a son, so that pretty much slowed everything down. So
Congrats.
yeah, thank you. So I haven't done anything like as consistent as I was the past few years, but even with that, just the videos, just the views keep coming up. So I mean, that's an easy $150 like a month just doing nothing. And pretty much it's just I think now they made it to where you have to have a certain amount of subscribers and watch time and things like that. But if you have that, you just click the monetize my video, they'll play an ad, and then Google will send you a check every month, depending on how many people click the ad, watch it, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, another just completely passive extra couple $100, just
Yeah, and it all
allowing
it all
people to
adds up,
do that.
right? You got
Yeah,
the money coming in from the licensing, the affiliate stuff, the monetization, and it all kinda adds up.
yep.
So man, let's switch gears a little bit because you mentioned you had a son. What's that like as far as the business balance, being able to put in time? How do you approach that?
Yeah, man. So yeah, it's a huge balancing act, and it's been cool though. It's been cool. I have a super supportive wife. So we kind of, and she has like her own business and things like that. So we're doing a lot of balancing over here. But in a way, it kind of helped me because now that I know my time is more limited, I'm able to really laser focus and say, okay, I need to make the most of these couple of hours that I have, or usually I kind of um, I know I have time set aside from around 10 o'clock to 1 in the morning, 1 or 2 in the morning, to where I'm just focusing on business stuff and just getting as much done. So what I do is I kind of set up a schedule, Monday through Friday, and Monday may be I'm working on TV and film composing stuff. Tuesday may be a marketing day. I'm just working on all marketing things, and then Wednesday could be something else. And I just kind of split it up day by day, and get chunks of work done. And then I brought a virtual assistant on board to kind of help me with a lot of the admin stuff that was taken away from the creative side of things. And she's been a huge help, man. While I'm asleep, she's knocking out, a bunch of the stuff that would take me, 2, 3 hours to do. So just having that help, another set of hands, that's been super duper crucial,
Yeah.
to
No,
getting things done.
that's huge. It's at a certain, I think as producers, a lot of times there's a certain amount of pride we have in like, oh, I can do everything. I can shoot and edit videos, I can make beats, I can be whatever, I can drive traffic, I can do all this different stuff. And like, yeah, that's
Mhm.
cool, but at a certain point, you can only do so much on your own. So I think
Exactly.
it's another level where you can, okay, that's great, congrats, you can do that, cool, but like you're only going to go so far if you're doing it yourself, and especially as your time becomes more valuable and more
Yeah.
scarce, it's like, how can you make the most of it? And I like what you said before that too, as far as kind of batching tasks. I think that's something that people underestimate, is how much time it takes for your brain to switch tasks. Where if you can, if you're trying to do an hour of this and then an hour of this, or even worse, 15 minutes of this and then 50, it's like it takes your brain like 15 minutes just to like really hone in on that thing and really kind of like optimize for that task.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, I think that's really smart, is that batching thing.
Yeah, man. I did a YouTube video talking about that, especially creating there's one day where I just create my video or YouTube content and just shoot everything. Because if you think about the time it takes to set your camera up, get the mic and the audio set up, making sure everything is in focus. Like that takes, I don't know, it takes me at least a solid hour just to get things right.
Yeah.
And then if you're trying to do that like every day instead of just batching it and just doing it all in one day, you'll save so much time, man, because it's already set up. You just do video, 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 and then just be done with it. So yeah, that's huge, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's true. It's both sides of it. It's like just your brain and your focus is one part, and then yeah, just a practical thing too. If you just have it set up for recording video or you're set up for doing whatever task, like yeah,
Uh,
stick there, stick with it and knock a bunch out in a day.
yeah.
Definitely smart. Yeah, what else as far as like productivity and stuff? Any little tools or software or services? Or I always like to find out what people are using. I don't know, Chrome extensions, anything
Yeah.
that's good for productivity?
What I use, so I've been hip to this tool called podio.com lately. Podio. So I've been using that between me and my VA. And I don't know, like I just like stuff to be organized. So it allows me to keep track of all the composers that work on my team and doing TV film stuff, to where, we have the agreement, and we have like all of their songwriter performing rights organization information all in like one little app on Podio. So that's super easy. And then
So it's like a what is it? I don't really understand what it is.
it's called Podio, and it's a website, and it's a website that has apps in it, if that makes
Okay.
sense. So you go to podio.com and you can customize it to whatever your business is. It could be real estate, it could be music product, whatever you do, you can create, and they have like a list of already pre-made apps, and you can add an app to like a workspace. That's what it is. It's like a virtual workspace.
Okay, I see it. I pulled it up. So it's like project management, task management,
Exactly.
but you can organize a bunch of stuff as well in there, communication, stuff like
Yep.
that. Okay, I see it. It's kind of like a all-in-one, almost like yeah, like a task management, project management, like a Trello or Asana or something like that.
Exactly.
Plus, it looks
Exactly.
like it's got like chat and a few other communication things in there as well. So
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
oh
So you can add, whoever's a part of your team, you can add your team to it, and you guys can chat. You can comment on certain things. You can assign tasks to individual people. So that's been super dope. Just kind of staying organized, and just having a one place to kind of communicate instead of all these different, you know, mediums. So that's been
yeah.
pretty cool.
No, that's huge. I like I use Trello for task management, and then
Okay.
I use Slack mostly for communication, Slack and Zoom.
Okay.
And also my new favorite is Voxer. You ever mess with Voxer?
I've heard of it. I haven't used it. How's it
So
going?
it's great. It's like it's basically like a walkie-talkie type of app, but
Okay.
it's something where you just press one button, it's recording, you press it again and it stops and it just sends that. So it's
Okay.
like to me, it's the fastest I can go from, oh, I have an idea to like the least it sounds silly, but like the least amount of buttons on my phone to now I can
Mhm.
communicate that idea to my team or to somebody else. It's
That's
I
dope.
can be in the car and be like, oh, we should do this, and bam, I just hit, basically
And
hit two buttons.
it sends it to everybody like all at once.
Well, yeah, you can either have like a room set up with, everybody on your team. You can,
Mhm.
hit people up individually. So you can kind of have different yeah, either conversations with, however many people you want, but you just
Okay.
like basically open the app, click on the, whichever whoever you want to send it to or whatever group, and then hit record and it just goes. So
Nice.
that's a fun one. It just makes things quick.
Yeah.
And then I also like if I'm at my computer, I'll do loom.com. It's like free it'll be like screen sharing, so you
Okay.
basically, I got a little quick keys like shift command L, it starts
Mhm.
recording, my screen and I can have it record my, my camera as well and my audio.
Oh,
And then so if I want to like communicate something again to the team or even to somebody, that I want to whatever partner up with on something, sometimes
yeah.
it's like I don't like writing stuff out, I guess is what this is getting to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just feel like if I just have an idea, I just want to hit, voice memo or a quick video and then just show somebody and send it. I feel like that it just saves a lot of time. I kind of like working that way now. And a
That's
lot
dope.
of times it's way more um like I'll use it, for the most part at this point I'm not doing most of the customer service stuff on my own, but occasionally, somebody on the team might tag me or something because it's like kind of a confusing thing or I don't know, whatever it is. And then a
Yeah.
lot of times I'll record them a video, right? And I'll just, I hit my little Shift Command L, records the thing, click one button, it, copies a link and sends it to them.
That's
And
dope.
they'll a lot of times the reaction is they're like, oh my God, like, damn, Gabe, you hit me back, individually and like recorded a video, and it feels like so much more value. And I think it is. And it was quicker than me like sitting and like writing out a whole
Right.
answer. I just hit record.
That's dope, dude. I wrote that down. I'm gonna check that out. That sounds
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. It's a game changer. And then
Yeah.
I can geek out on this stuff forever, but like you can do stuff where you can like I have it in Slack set up, so like I can like basically I copy that link, I'm able to hit like one little quick key in Slack, and then it creates a Trello card that like yeah, anyways,
Automation, man.
yeah, man.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, man. No, I definitely geek out on that stuff. It's fun to just try different things, and anything. It's like sometimes it doesn't seem like a big deal, but if it saves me a couple keystrokes or it saves me a few seconds, I just feel like that stuff adds up over time.
Yeah, it does. Yep. That time is valuable.
Man, what else? It sounds like you're a little bit of you get into the automation and stuff. Anything else as far as I don't know apps or
Dude,
uh
um, if this, then that. I use that for a
yeah,
couple of things too. So
it's kind of like Zapier, right? Or do you ever mess with Zapier?
I do. I got
Yeah.
some stuff linked up with Zapier, especially with Mailchimp and things like that. If someone purchased something, it sends a little zap to the Mailchimp, adds them to a certain list, and may tag it or something like that, and then it'll shoot out an email. Then I have an automation email sequence set up in Mailchimp just to kind of keep, it's just stuff takes so much time, man. So anything I could do to set up to where I can still interact with people, but not have to like, manually do it each and every time, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, so
those things are great, like If This Then That or Zapier, because it's like basically it connects every app you have, every piece of software, every platform you're using
mhm,
to each other, right? So like,
yeah,
yeah, like you said, I'll have stuff where it's like somebody makes a purchase. So for me, maybe they made the purchase in ClickFunnels, but then that sends, that updates a row in Google Sheets. So now I'm keeping track of the bookkeeping side. Then it also might notify me in Slack, just so I know, okay, somebody made a purchase, and then yeah, might add them to a certain list or tag them a certain way in an email so that they get an onboarding sequence of, oh, congrats, you just bought this thing, cool, like let me show you the benefits of that, and
yep,
or just let me fulfill on what I promised you, let me send out that email.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, man, I use a lot of that stuff, and especially for like social media posts. If something's posting a YouTube video, I wanted to post to Facebook and Twitter. Just set up one of those little apps and just have it shoot it out to everything at once. So
Yeah, man, definitely. So what do you got coming up next? What's on the horizon?
yeah, so right now I'm working on wrapping up the Road to 10 Placements virtual tour. So I got a couple more dates of that, and then the
Yeah,
last one.
actually tell me about that. So I remember I saw you started talking about it. You're going to go on tour, you're going to, travel
Yeah,
around, helping people out with getting placements right, and kind of doing an in-person thing. And then I assume those plans changed a little bit with COVID and everything.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the original intent was to go to different cities, where I kind of had the most demand, and people wanted to learn about music licensing. And had it set up, and man, we were ready to go. It would have officially launched in New York in March, and then COVID happened, and I was kind of monitoring the situation in New York, because New York was like one of the first places where it was just like hot with the spread and things like that. So it got to a point where I was just like, okay, I have to think about my family first, and their safety, especially with the little guy. So I decided to just to turn it and pretty much pivot and make the thing virtual, and then see how it progressed. And then it just got worse and worse. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just make the whole tour virtual through Zoom. That way, literally people from anywhere can come. Because at first it was just going to be US based. But yeah, man. So we turned it virtual, gave people like a 50% discount, and it's been pretty dope, man. And honestly, I don't know. I kind of like the Zoom setting because it allows me to just share my screen. If I need to pull up a web browser and kind of really dig into how to search for certain things, I can do that, and it's all right there. So it's been pretty dope. So yeah, that COVID changed the plans, but it worked out, and yeah, man, I'm not mad at it. So it's
Yeah,
been
no,
pretty.
being able to pivot like that, I think is the key. Is just, all right, new situation, cool, let's make the most of it. And a lot of times it's those limitations or it's those setbacks that end up sometimes being better than you thought. It opens up this whole new world. I feel like, as there's so many negative effects, of course, with
Mhm.
with the situation, but like there's been some positive stuff too where I think where, people have discovered like what you're talking about, where maybe some people their business wasn't even online at all. I have
Mhm.
friends who were doing like lessons, like my buddy who I make beats with, like he was doing piano lessons and he'd always kind of talked about, yeah, it'd be cool to do something virtual or whatever. Now it's like he has to. And so it's
Yep.
opened up a whole different world of things. And I think having that mindset of like, instead of being like, oh man, this sucks, this, completely ruined my plans, I'm gonna give up. Or it's like, no, like just find the opportunity in there because a lot of times it's gonna open up a newer opportunity you didn't even expect would be there.
Exactly, man. Yep. It's all about the mindset.
Absolutely. Cool, man. Well, what else? Where can people find you?
Clintproductions.com is my website, and literally everything is kind of on there. And then I'm on Instagram a lot, at Clint Music. That's where I spend a lot of my time. And then yeah, everything else is, man, it's connected from those two things.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on. I'm glad I got a chance to actually chat with you for a while. And
Absolutely.
man, I'll be talking to you soon.
Cool, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.